All right, well, if you want to know what I'm going to be reading in the month of October, let's talk about it. What's good, BookTube? It's Theo, Rekindled Reader. Thank you for hanging out with me today. As the title suggests, this is my October TBR, and I'm going to be honest with you guys. It doesn't have a lot. The priority is going to be Words of Radiance, book number 2 in the Stormlight Archive. I enjoyed Way of Kings immensely. I love the world. I love the magic. I love the characters. Kaladin is my boy. Dalinar, I'm getting kind of old, so he's my dude as well. Shallan, sure. I'm having a really good time. Words of Radiance is going to be priority number 1 for the entire month of October. And if I all of a sudden, through some magic or whatever, able to all of a sudden read faster and I roll through Words of Radiance, I'm going to pick up immediately on Oathbringer, book number 3. I'm on the bandwagon. I'm reading 1 book a month until the release of Wind and Truth, book number 5 in December. And I can't wait for that. I just want to be, part of the anticipation and the joy of BookTube when that book comes out. It's going to be such an epic time on BookTube and a lot of discussions, a lot of people being very excited. I can't wait for that. I just want to know everything that happens right up until that point because people have been waiting on that for a while now. And I'm lucky enough to roll through for the first time right up until the release. So Words of Radiance, priority number 1, book 2 in the Stormlight Archive. And what I'm going to do instead of fitting October is usually spooky season, right? I love horror. I just don't know how much I'll be able to fit in because I decided to prioritize Stormlight. So I do have one horror sort of spooky read, and this is going to be a buddy read with Alicia, Birdie in the Books. Her channel is amazing. Check it out in the description below. Good friend of mine. This book I actually found. So Alicia knows this author. The author is Tananarive Due. I think it's Tananarive Due. I'm usually pretty good with names, to be honest, but this one's a little bit difficult. I'll put it up on the screen. This book that we're going to buddy read together is called The Reformatory, and she knows this author from way back. She's read a lot of their books, recommends them very highly. This book I found out about through watching a Stephen King interview where he talks about books that he's been enjoying, really good books that he would recommend, and this was on the list. I put it on Goodreads. It gets 4.47 stars out of 22,000 ratings almost, right? Almost 4.5 stars out of 22,000 ratings. Apparently it's very, very good. So I'm going to try this one out. We're going to do it as a buddy read because who doesn't love a good horror spooky book during spooky season, which is Halloween. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what this is about. Gracetown, Florida, June 1950. 12-year-old Robbie Stevens Jr. is sentenced to 6 months at the Gracetown School for Boys, a reformatory, for kicking the son of the largest landowner in town in defense of his older sister, Gloria. So begins Robbie's journey further into the terrors of the Jim Crow South and the very real horror of the school they call the reformatory. Robbie has a talent for seeing ghosts or haints, but what was once a comfort to him after the loss of his mother has become a window to the truth of what happens at the reformatory. Boys forced to work to remediate their so-called crimes have gone missing, but the haints Robbie sees hint at worse things. Through his friends Redbone and Blue, Robbie is learning not just the rules, but how to survive. Meanwhile, Gloria is rallying every family member and connection in Florida to find out a way to get Robbie out before it's too late. The Reformatory is a haunting work of historical fiction written as only American Book Award-winning author Tananarive Due could by piecing together the life of the relative her family never spoke of and bringing his tragedy and those of so many others at the infamous Dozier School for Boys to the light in this riveting novel. So it's actually apparently quite a disturbing book to read, not a great time in history to read about. A lot of trigger warnings, lot of bad things. As you heard from that snippet and from another interview that I watched, apparently this was a real school. It's based on a real school and based on a lot of true real life events, some of which happened to her, the author's family members. So I don't know how this is going to go, but I'm very excited to read it. And this is as good a place to start as any. So that's probably going to be the bulk of my reading for October. I made a joke in my mid-month update that maybe I'll read the ACOTAR series, like book number 2 with Madison. I don't know if we'll have time for that one, but I'd like to try to get to that at some point because I'm just curious about what happens, guys. I just want to know what happens. And me and Madison like to joke about it. And I feel like, we've run out of jokes on the first book, so we might as well read book number 2. And apparently that is where it picks up. It gets better, gets more juicy. And, we want to know what some of the memes are about, what some of the references are, and all that kind of stuff. Another book I was thinking about reading is Joe Hill's Horns. Also, Nosferatu. I want to read a Joe Hill. I'm curious about him. I've had him on deck for a while and just haven't quite got to it. If I'm going to pick another spooky book to read, it's probably going to be a Joe Hill, maybe. I got some other ones on deck. Don't exactly know where the tail end of the month is going to take me. Editing Theo here, looking a little disheveled because I just got out of the shower trying to get ready for the day. I apologize. But another author that's been on my radar forever and a book that I want to try to fit in this October because a friend of mine lent it to me is The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. It follows 4 American Indian men after a disturbing event from their youth puts them in a desperate struggle for their lives. Tracked by an entity bent on revenge, these childhood friends are helpless as the culture and traditions they left behind catch up to them in a violent and vengeful way. This is probably something I want to try to fit in because I'm going hunting in October for a couple weeks, and this kind of apparently centers around a hunting trip for these guys, nature, all that stuff. So this actually really fits the bill in terms of atmosphere and vibe that I want for, I'm not really doing a spooky season, but for October. And so thank you to my friend who lent this to me. I really, really want to also try to fit this one in. But that's the bulk of what I'm going to be reading. If there's anything you think I should try and fit in, any shorter books you'd recommend, any palette cleansers, any small little Halloween spooky season palette cleansers, let me know in the comments. If I am to keep it kind of dark, I'm going to probably continue with the Last War trilogy by Mike Shackle. The problem is book number 2, Fool's Hope, I believe, it gets pretty chunky and book 3 gets even chunkier. So if I'm not able to fit it in with all these fatty patties over here, then I'm going to have to keep it short and maybe stick to just Words of Radiance and the Reformatory and then roll into Oathbringer as soon as the month allows. That's it, guys. Let me know in the comments what you're reading. As usual, if you don't mind, it's free to do so. Subscribe, like, comment, hit the bell notification. If you like videos like this and want to see more from me, you'll get notified when I post. That's it. I hope you have an amazing month. I hope you have an amazing Halloween, and I'll talk to you in the middle of the month probably for another update. Anyway, that's it for me, guys. I'll catch you real soon on the next video.